Welcome to part 1 of the orbiter tutorial. Rename and initialize patch orbiter source and choose mod 7 as your EXI for type 1. So it's going to sound like, drop it down an octave. Just hitting middle C here. Let's start off by going to the patch panel, setting up some patches. Double click VPM oscillator 3, send it to an output, and then double click oscillator 2 and send that to the input of oscillator 1. Turn it all the way down. Now let's jump into our oscillators. VPM oscillator 1. Let's choose a square wave. And let's take off the envelope. If you remember why that's important from the God's Bow tutorial, we'll need to do that for all three of the oscillators that we're using, so then their amplitude is dictated by the amp envelope. And in fact, while we're on it, let's just fashion the amp envelope now. Put the break and sustain all the way up. Put attack time to like 75. Just, yeah, there we go. Release time on to 76. So that way we get a swell, nice gentle swell. Go back to the oscillator tab. And let's see, oscillator 1 is set up just fine. Oscillator 2 is on 0. Put up oscillator 2 to 14. And actually, let's add just a little bit of FM. To 11. And in the patch panel, while I'm doing this, I'm actually going to turn down oscillator 3. So then you can hear exactly what we're doing when we shape oscillator 2. So anyway, turn it up to 14. Still not hearing too much of an effect, but we're going to modulate this with an LFO. Turn that up to 19. Let's jump into the LFO. Take off key sync. Put it on random 5, continuous. Put on MIDI tempo sync, drop it down to 1/8 notes. Go to the shape parameter, put it up to 50. Let's go back to our oscillator tab, go to VPM oscillator 3, choose a square wave. And we're going to drop it down an octave. 0.5. If you wanted to leave the ratio at 1, you would just do minus 0.5, of course. And then go back to the patch panel, turn it up, just type in 50. That's it for part 1. In part 2, we're going to route this through a comb filter in STR1, much like we did with the God's Bow preset. Then after that, we're going to throw on some basic effects, and that'll be the whole thing for this patch. And if you want a preview, I guess I could do that. Let me go back into the Play tab, click Store, and actually, while we're at it, make sure you save this on the Kronos itself. In fact, let me just go to Global real fast, Kronos Transfer, Clear, because you'll see it'll select random things. Choose user CC, which is where I made the preset, and then send to Kronos. Now that it's stored on the Kronos itself, when we create a combi, it'll reference the correct patch instead of referencing a blank patch, which is what was there before. So anyway, let me go to bank. Actually, it's a combi, so let me go to combi, and then it'll take a second to load the graphic. I'm just going to show you again the full completed patch real fast. Takes a minute. Yeah, it's kind of too bad how the Kronos is an A-class instrument, but the editor just is really slow and glitchy. So, orbiter. So you can already kind of hear the effect of the comb filter and how that's going to eventually sound. But yeah, part 2, we're going to get into the rest of the sound. See you there.